I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, from what I know, is that informal trading is reserved for South Africans. Now, why do we still have requirements that will give foreigners an opportunity to also apply? So that judgment, we still need to look into it, but we're glad that at least there will be some law and order. I'm not sure if it's because of the G20 that's coming soon. It's just a public stunt that that's just happening. But I'm hoping, because at the end of the day, Op.Dudula was born to make sure that our cities are clean. If it's happening, we all good, we all happy. But let it not be because of the wrong reasons. Let it be because we want to clean and make sure that we are safe in and around our cities. So I'm not sure if somebody wants to add on the COJ and before I continue to the way forward.
Ladies and gents, we will take some.
No, before we're just going to take. Okay, I think we've covered that. Now, so let's talk about. You asked what's going to happen now. Operation Dudula is a community-based organization, which is bigger than all of us, and it was born on frustration of ordinary citizens who have been left out for a very long time. At least citizens have found a home where they can, say their frustration and how they feel, and be on the ground on a daily basis. I don't think there's anyone that has powers to close down Operation Dudula. That's the same reason why we're going to appeal, because we want to continue. Our main aim is to make sure that we live in a safe South Africa and a law-abiding citizens. We're fighting against illegality. Whether it's done by foreigners or whether it's done by South Africans, we're just fighting illegality. And unfortunately, illegal immigration is just one at the top, because all of the other things that we are facing as a country is brewing through illegal immigrants. I mean, people are killed and women are raped. Our kids are dying of poisonous snakes. That we all know that it's from your Somalians, Pakistanians, and talking about drugs. Yes, we do have South Africans who are also in that business, but the biggest problem of drugs is coming from Nigerians, and I will not shy away from that. And we have a lot of hijacking of properties in and around the cities and in townships. But the government is not addressing that. The buildings just here in the city have been hijacked. When you ask who the landlords are, they are Congolese, they're Nigerians, some yes are Zimbabweans. This is public knowledge. We've seen it on social media platforms. We've seen it on media mainstream. Now I want to talk about the issue of health facilities. Now there's an order that we must stop protecting our public facilities. When it was evident, we've seen it, how many times the police have busted vehicles going to Zimbabwe with medicine, stolen medicine. Just now, the recent one, we lost people in that accident. The one that we lost, about 40 people. About 40 people died in that accident, and may their souls rest in peace. But medicine were found there, ARV were found there. But the government, what they can just tell us is that there's going to be investigations. How many times have we warned the government that our medication is stolen from our facilities? And I'm not saying that none of our own South Africans are involved, because chances are they're also getting it from, some South Africans that are working in those facilities. But we know for a fact that they collect medication from different healthcare facilities and don't sell them back home. So we're not just talking, we're not just making noise, we're raising real issues here. There probably needed to be some mediation and not just a judgment that will tell us to stop all these operations, because if we stop, then most South Africans will suffer. Because if we stop, we'll have more kids who will not have schools, who will not be in school classes, we'll have more people without medication, we'll still have our old grannies standing in long queues just to get medication. We'll still have our own South Africans dying, waiting for their cancer treatment. So it cannot be correct. Our way forward too is that we're going to continue with our operations. That's the reason why we're going to appeal, because when we appeal, it's going to set aside the judgment and we continue until the next set down. Because I don't think South Africans are ready for this, and if they are ready for this, they must tell us. But if they're not, then they must definitely join the struggle, because the hype out there is that people are tired of the illegality from foreigners. It will definitely not be the end of OD. We do a lot of work outside immigration. Tammy also has the housing team, where we are in townships more especially, where we have syndicates. I'm going to talk about the syndicates. We have a syndicate of a group of people that hijack properties. They target child-headed homes. They target, our elders. So this syndicate includes banks, masters of the High Court, deeds office, our judges. This very same judges that are giving us such judgments. Judges, sheriffs, police, and the list goes on. So it's a well-coordinated syndicate. And if you don't know your story, then you will not win. But we are having people that are being evicted from their homes on a daily basis by the same syndicate. We've reported this matter to police, the Minister of Justice, but we're not getting joy. We have become private investigators because we have investigated these matters. We know who the perpetrators are. We've submitted everything to these departments, but they're still not helping us. I think the last eviction was last week Friday. When all of these files are sitting with the authorities, but they're doing nothing about it. So people are no longer reporting these crimes to authorities. They'd rather opt to come to Op.Dudula because that's where they get help. So what we're appealing here is that, if you look, one of the other things is that you look at the judgment. It says it's got costs in it. Remember, we were not represented. Now you wanna cost us, and we were not represented. So that's also something else that we're going to appeal for. But also give us an opportunity to bring our case and talk about our issues. I mean, yes, we were served, but there were some technicalities that happened and we were not represented at that time. Now all we are saying is that we want to be represented, we want to tell our own stories, we want to defend this ruling, and without any reasonable doubts, we know that this judgment could turn into something else when we are represented. So that's the reason why we are going to appeal. I don't know that.
But it's also, if I may just add, it is also in terms of the Constitution, Section 35, subsection 3 of the Constitution gives every person that appears in any court the right to representation. You would remember during the hearing itself, Op.Dudula was not represented. Regardless of the circumstances that surround the issue why Op.Dudula did not have legal representation in court, but the Constitution still enforces the judge to give the opportunity to the person appearing before him, to give him an opportunity to have a legal representation. All of that was thrown out. So that will form basis of our argument in terms of the appeal.
Must be aware that this judgment, as my colleagues have said, it was a judgment about us, without us. And we are very well aware that it has provided a propaganda boost to our detractors. But we would like to ensure South Africans that Operation Dudula remains unwavering in their stance against illegal immigrants.
Yes. Njabulu, just to add, man, on the issue of the judgment of the seat of Joburg. Look, in 2021, Council, seat of Joburg, they've adopted informal trading policy, and it has been sitting there. So we're surprised that today they want to enforce it because G20 is coming. And mind you, this other party which will not mention, they are going to conferences. Now they've seen an opportunity now to low-key South Africans or to have something which they can say South Africans must believe in them. We're not going to mention that party, but we're saying we're surprised that they will take this thing to court and say illegal immigrants must move out of seat of Joburg. While you've got a police which didn't implement it for years, it has been sitting there. Informal trading policies are reserved for South Africa. Why do we have foreigners who are selling second-hand clothes or de Villiers Street? Mind you that in de Villiers, in the informal trading policy, it stays clear with de Villiers, you must not trade in de Villiers. We've got the national key point, which is Park Station there. But they've been allowed, these people, by the same officials to trade there. Because some of them is alleged that they've been buying these stocks illegal to these officials. The same officials today were saying who want to celebrate the victory of Operation Dudula. The organization which went to de Villiers Street, it was Operation Dudula, 2022, when MMC is Kuli from Action SA. He was still an MMC there. We're saying enforce laws, enforce informal trading policy. From city of Johannesburg, we've got market, city deep, where when we grew up, we knew there was Mandela there. A certain space which is reserved for South Africa. Today is occupied by Nigerian, 100%. They must also go to city deep market and clean, give South African those spaces. So we're saying the appeal, it will not stop us. I mean the judgment, it will not stop us, we'll appeal. And when we come back, we'll be more radical. While this appeal will activate our members to go to the street. We're going to schools. We're not going to shy away. We don't want foreign nationals in public schools. We're going to public health facilities. We're clear about that.